next guest today is James Piper Bond, President and CEO of Living Classrooms Foundation. Mr. Bond is joined by Travis Street, Director of Family and Community Engagement. Founded in Baltimore in 1985, Living Classrooms Foundation has grown into an educational and economic force in the city. Please welcome Living Classrooms Foundation President and CEO James Piper Bond and Director of Family and Community Engagement Travis Street. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
And James, you guys, are genuinely, really game changers, and you've been changing the game a long time. So tell us your background.
Well, I grew up in Baltimore, and we've been working with Living Classrooms now. I've been there 32 years.
Wow.
I was the first full-time employee, and we have an amazing team with Travis as one of our leaders.
Love it.
We employ over 500 people. We serve 25,000 children, youth, and adults every year in the Baltimore, Washington area. And it's all about how can we have Baltimore be a safer, stronger, healthier, and more prosperous city. And so that's what Living Classrooms is about. And we have 3 core competencies: education, workforce development, and health and wellness, with a heavy dose of violence prevention, and especially now to help the city.
So James, back in 1985, when the original concept, getting those kids out there on the boat, right? And if you've never been out on the boat out there, it's amazing because you see the Domino's sugar.
Right.
It's like just the harbor is just a beautiful space. Now, how did that idea even come about?
Well, our first Living Classrooms and Living Classroom Foundation, as the name suggests, it's all about bringing learning alive, learning by doing, hands-on, experiential learning. So we do that on board ships. We do that at our multiple community centers, our environmental centers, out at the many schools we work with. The Lady Maryland, when we first began, the idea, 2 teachers had the idea of building a ship for kids, just for students. And so Dennis O'Brien and Tom Schuldeis, they came up with the idea. They hired me as the first full-time employee, and Chris Rosum is our first captain 32 years ago. Chris is still with us.
Wow.
And we began to sail every day with classrooms full of kids to learn math, science, history, learn about the Port of Baltimore, the ecology of Chesapeake Bay, all through hands-on learning by doing. And they're the crew on board. They're driving the boat. They're navigating the course. They are learning by doing. That's our mantra. And so we grew that then quickly to work with Fresh Start students. Those are young teens who have gotten in trouble and picked up a charge and gotten kicked out of school. So for 27 years, we've been operating, now 28 years, the Fresh Start program, which is a national model working with adjudicated teenagers, 16 through 19, 40 weeks, helping them to get their lives on track. Or we work with more returning citizens than any other community-based organization in the state of Maryland. We have the UA House, the Powerhouse, the Patterson Park House. We brought Safe Streets to Baltimore 10 years ago, and the mayor is doing a fabulous job of helping to expand Safe Streets to help stop the shootings and killing. You know, we've gone 456 days without a murder in McKeldrey Park area.
Wow.
So these are the kind of things. Yes, we started on a boat and experiential learning, but frankly, it's all about how can we help improve lives and help people and start directly in the community first.
So Travis, you're from Baltimore?
Yes, sir. Born and raised.
So you grew up with Living Classrooms being around.
Yes.
And now here you are connecting with the communities. Tell us about your job, your role.
Well, I'm the Director of Family and Community Engagement. I've been with Living Classrooms for just about a decade now. Grew up in East Baltimore. One of those young men that didn't realize he actually lived in poverty until our community center closed. And once that closed, I noticed a lot of young men, young women, a bunch of my peers making bad decisions because we didn't have those resources or that lack thereof. So I got up, started doing something about it, became a member of Living Classrooms. Started off as an intern actually with Living Classrooms, then came and became an employee, and throughout the years just meeting the community needs, and that's my job as the family and community engagement person. You know, I go out in the communities, I meet people where they are, and my job is to listen. That's the first thing you have to do. When we only go into communities that we're asked to go into, once we go into that community, the first thing we do is a needs assessment, because that needs assessment tells us what it is that community is lacking. And our job is to go in and to fill those voids. You know, we're not in the business of Band-Aids. Band-Aids come off. We want to identify what that barrier is, and then we want to welcome it, and then we're going to get rid of it. And that's a holistic approach, that multi-generational approach that we take each and every day. And that's with our youth, our young adults, our children, our Head Starts, as well as our seniors. We work with the whole community as a whole. And it's about listening. That's the first thing you have to do. You can't go in with an agenda. You have to go in and listen to the community, because they're going to tell you what it is that they need.
we're teasing you, Travis, on the way in because we see you so much at the schools. We thought you worked at the schools.
A lot of folks, yes, indeed, yes.
The boots on the ground aspect is so important.
Yes, because we're meeting our families, wherever their barrier is, and the schools. So we're in the schools throughout the day. I get that a lot. Do you work for the school system? I'm like, no, I do not work for the school system. I work for the Living Classrooms Foundation. And honestly, I say this a lot, but I mean it. I don't work a day in my life because I really love what I do and what I have the opportunity to do. And the resources that we're able to bring to our communities each and every day. So we are working in 19 targeted schools within our area and our geographic target investment zone, which is that 2.5 mile radius that we work with each and every day. So yes, you're going to see me in the schools. You're going to see me in the neighborhoods. You're going to see me 8 o'clock in the morning. You're going to see me 8 o'clock at night. I have very non-traditional hours. My job is to make sure that my families have what they need to be successful, and that looks different for each and every family.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and find out the secret. This organization has been around for so long. We've seen so many organizations come and go, but you guys are still here, still growing. We'll find out more after this break. And welcome back to Game Changers. I'm talking with James Bond and Travis Street in these streets. And so, James, as we had a chance to see Travis's high energy, I want him on my team. If you want to grow, if you want to connect, Travis is the guy. So, tell us about his backstory.
He's amazing, and I was a coach before I came to Living Classroom, and you're only as good as your team. Any coach, I may be the CEO, but I'm only, we're only as good as a team. And Travis, we have an amazing team at Living Classroom. Travis, Colin, Gardnell, Denise, I can just go on and on and on with all the amazing men and women who work so hard day in and day out to help the city. But Travis, when I think about you, you grew up in Perkins Home and then became our director of the Powerhouse. And the Powerhouse is that 110-year-old facility, that the old firehouse in the middle of Perkins Home, Baltimore's largest public housing site in East Baltimore. And we raised over $1.5 million to help restore that. And Travis became our director there. And that community center is really a guiding light for that community, and you know better than I. And then you became the director of the UA House, when Kevin Plank and Under Armour gave us $6.5 million, and the state came in with $500,000, and the city's been very supportive. And we transformed that center on Fayette Street last year to now be really the premier recreation community center for the city of Baltimore, thanks to all the generosity of Under Armour and Kevin Plank and others. And the Bishotti family came in, and we have this amazing turf field that's covered, and you may have seen, and it's an amazing, and we have the recording studio there. We have this incredible music program. So it's the Workforce Development Center on the first floor, thanks to Joe and Debs Weinberg. So we've been able to bring in private support and funding. We bring in city and state funding. We bring in the different federal support. And it's how can we bring together all these different resources, but it really comes back to the energy of Travis connecting directly. You heard what he said about connecting to the community and making sure we're responding to the needs of the community, and that's what's so important. And I just think about you and Colin. Gardnell Carter, he's the godfather of Safe Streets. We started 10 years ago, and now every different Safe Streets around the city has someone that worked with Gardnell and Living Classrooms and the folks at the city, and we're excited about Drew Vetter coming in and helping that. And so it's a team effort, and we're shoulder to shoulder with the city moving forward.
And so we've seen organizations come and go. You've seen organizations, but Living Classrooms continues to not only be there, but also to expand and grow. What do you think has been the common denominator that's made it so successful? Made you so successful?
Well, we've got a great team. We're focused on every day. Anything we do as an organization, how are we helping that child? Whether it's a baby in one of our early childhood centers, whether it's that baby's sibling that's in an after-school program. Right now, we're feeding hundreds of children this afternoon in all our centers, as we do every day. We served almost 100,000 meals last year. I don't think people realize that. So we're helping. So how are we helping that sibling in our after-school programs, our out-of-school time? How are we helping the teenager come and you may be getting a little bit of trouble at school and staying on track and not getting caught up in the drug trade? How are we helping that young mom that is looking to get skills? How are we helping the young mom or dad that's in East Baltimore, living around Patterson Park, who's maybe Spanish speaking, to get skills and job training? How are we helping the grandfather who might be returning home from prison as a returning citizen, how do we help them get skills and get a job? And Project Serve has that rapid attachment to work. How are we helping the seniors? So it's really that multi-generational approach that Travis was talking about, similar to the Harlem Children's Zone. So we've created this Target Investment Zone initiative. And I think the vision of that, and now having the community hubs, and working very closely with Mayor Pugh and her team, and working with the governor and his team, we are able to create a pathway where we can really disrupt the cycle of poverty. People were excited about that. People want to support that. People want to get on board with that. It's a game changer. Similar to the Harlem Children's Zone, so we've created this Target Investment Zone initiative. And I think the vision of that, and now having the community hubs, and working very closely with Mayor Pugh and her team, and working with the governor and his team, we are able to create a pathway where we can really disrupt the cycle of poverty. People were excited about that. People want to support that. People want to get on board with that. It's a game changer. We actually have a program called Game Changers.
All right.
But Travis, maybe
somebody ring the bell on that one.
Yeah.
So Travis, we got about 30 seconds, man. Give us a wrap on that. And again, I'm just so proud of you and so proud of what the organization is doing.
Well, thank you. As James just said, we have a program called Game Changers. So Game Changers is a program that's out of school time activity. So even though schools are out, when they're out, like for instance, Monday is a holiday, schools are closed, but Game Changers is in effect on Monday. So we'll be receiving students from 9 to 3 p.m. on Monday, and they'll be able to come out. I don't know what the weather is projected to be on Monday, but it is the winter months, so children have that idle time. They're doing something positive versus being out in the community doing whatever that may be. So it's all about making sure you have that structured plan, working with the families, and taking that multi-generational approach. Because as James said, when we're working with our families, you can't work with a senior the same way you will work with an 11-year-old. So you have to have that multi-generational approach. So each approach is a little different, so we can make sure that folks reach success, and success looks different to each and every person. It may be, Mr. Street, I'm trying to obtain my GED. Yes, one of our oldest students were 62 years old, and she said to me, baby, I'm too old to get my GED, but now she's one of our volunteers and instructors, because that's what it's about. It's game changers. That's what it's about.
Game changers on Game Changers.
You got it.
Travis, thank you so much. James, Piper Bond, thank you so much. Living Classrooms, you are Game Changers. Thank you for being on Game Changers, and thank you for watching this edition of Game Changers. See you next time. I'm Mark Clark.